As promised, my good friend, my pal, my former colleague, Kenny Mayne joins me. Kenny, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me. That's our dog Benson with a squeaky toy announcing my arrival to the show. Benson, relax.
All right. I love the name Benson. Is there anything behind the name Benson? Where did we get
No,
this name from?
just that was already his name. That's probably what was
Oh,
most. So we had a big dog named Jed, and he passed away
oh,
last fall. In fact, I lost my dog and my best friend in 1 week. My best friend Mark Sansevier, and then he had muscular dystrophy. It's a long story, but I can't tell it. I can't tell part of it without telling all of it. You know what I'm saying?
sure.
And it's still good to talk about. I just had a dream about him the other day. Mark had muscular dystrophy and was in a wheelchair, but in the dream he was back up on his feet. So his brother told me that's native. He was Wolf Point, Montana, Sioux and Assiniboine tribes, and he said that's the native way of him coming back to tell you he's okay. I'm
Yeah.
buying that.
By the way, I already bought it because I was going to tell you that
Yeah,
before you just explained that to me.
I love it.
And
So
it's really,
Benson, we
yeah,
then got Benson. Gretchen immediately Googled next man up, and we got this
okay.
dog Benson from New Hampshire, and his name was already Ben. He was Big Ben on the
Big Ben.
website, and he is Ben. Ben, come here. When he comes over, I'll hold the
Put him
computer.
on camera, Kenny.
He
Put him
was
on camera.
Well, we're
You
trying
know,
to get an ad deal with Chewy or any of the other leading dog brands. He is going to make us. That's really my nest egg right there. That dog. I think he takes us to the victory.
yeah, well, you're preaching to the choir here for sure. It's funny, since I started doing the show, Kenny, you wing it. It's live. I mean, and so my dog Babs, she has timed her outburst perfectly.
Oh,
So when my show was over, my previous show, the Amazon guy dropped off some packages, and it was
and she
Babs
goes
going, rah,
crazy.
rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the timing, Babs, you nailed it.
Ours is not that way. Benson, I don't really have we have this big house back in Connecticut. I don't really have my own man room or office room. It's just here I am. This is my kitchen. This just seems to be the best and the most. Otherwise, you got weird stuff behind you, and
Yeah.
like
How do you
today we
feel
had a.
about that? By the way, how do you feel about that? You've been on a million podcasts. You have your own stuff. Of course, We Need a Fourth with Cooper Manning and Brian Baumgartner. Why do people care so much, Kenny, of what's behind them and what's being displayed?
Well, there's this website. They're on social media called Room Raider. Very funny because they'll make fun of people who have terrible backdrops. I still want to be outed by Room Raider mainly. No, I mean we keep saying we're going to get more art, and we got so many family pictures and beautiful pictures of Mount Rainier and whatever, and we keep saying we're going to, and we haven't. So I just feel like a blank wall. I don't think this is bad. We got some sourdough bread, a
Yeah.
toaster, some mini graham crackers, but I'm 4 days deep on no desserts. I've decided to stop eating dessert except tomorrow night we're celebrating our wedding anniversary, so I'll probably break down and give in to Gretchen for that.
As you should. It's a
Mhm.
big day, and congrats to that. Well, you know what? Let's go back. I'm laughing. Let's go back in time. The people love nostalgia, Kenny.
They
Okay.
seem to.
They seem to. So, and they seem to love the golden era that we were a
Time out
part
for me. Did you put the chicken on? Well, the stove, it could just blow up. It could get so hot. It's like the sun. We don't care. Benson can do whatever he wants. He's part of the show. Yes, going back in time,
Hi,
nostalgia way.
Gretchen. She's doing a great job. And Kenny's hungry. The
I'll put it on.
nostalgia.
I'll
People,
carry the computer with me to the grill and we just have it be a roving show. Does it
I
matter
know.
that does it matter that I'm in a chair? Is your show chaotic enough that I could here's Benson. Look at this idiot.
Let's
Here.
see. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. What?
He's
Benson is
10
like a pillow, Kenny.
he's 10 months old and he weighs $135. He looks like the dog on the Muppets a
Yeah.
little bit.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. 10 months old, already 135.
Yeah, he could
Is
go
he
to
getting
two.
bigger or
He's
is
like
the
the fridge, William Perry of dogs. We don't know what he's going to do.
Oh man. All right, let's go. Can we go? We're going to dance around here because
We
dinner's
already
almost
have
ready
been
for
doing
you. All
that.
right. Back in time. Of
Yes.
course, I'm sure you remember all our shows we did together, of course.
We did many.
We did many, and it was great. And it's well established how much I laugh and how I think you're the funniest man in every room. And I really mean that. And you know that because I displayed that because I couldn't stop cackling. So, where did this offbeat, dry sense of humor come from with you? And when did you know you were funny?
I think I've said or answered that question many times, kind of the same way. The same thing that I ended up doing for a career is what got me sent out in the hall in fifth grade. And I spent most of fifth grade in the hall. Like Mr. Bell was not putting up with my bullshit. And Mark, my good friend I mentioned already, we were both in the class. I seemed to get in trouble more than he. I think it was always, what's the silliest, most absurd thing I can say as fast as possible to kind of, win the moment, right? Like to get the laugh.
Right.
And I probably was doing that. But, my dad was funny. My uncle was funny. My sister's boyfriends, and that were in my life. I grew up on Johnny Carson, Bob Newhart, like
Yeah.
that was kind of quintessence of, dryness, just what's a simple line. It's not like a joke. It's not like memorizing a joke. It's more something happens and you got half a second to say something, like to fill that gap. So
Yeah.
I think that was it. The
But
Bugs Bunny hour was a big influence.
listen, hey, we're the same age. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I know everything you're talking about. Of course, the younger viewers have no clue, as we know. But you know what's interesting? This is one of the things I did not know about you, this revelation that this funny stuff, you saw yourself as a serious newsman coming out of
Yeah.
college.
I played football. I was at UNLV after Wenatchee Junior College over there at the east side of the state.
Yeah.
And all my studies were to get into real journalism. I don't consider sports journal. I mean, there is journalism in sports. Pablo Torre is doing a great job, by the way, like that kind of stuff. But in general, sports casting on local news in particular, and then even at ESPN, you're really just talking about what happened that day. Is that journalism? I guess in a sense, but you're more describing with highlights and kind of making it entertaining, right? A little different. Although
Yeah.
we did, as you know, we had to do real journalism all the time. There'd be a
Yeah.
death, there'd be an investigation, there'd be a crime or an alleged crime. So, but my background was political science, history, English, speech journalism, and broadcasting degree is what it was technically. But that's what I wanted to do. I'd say if it had gone the way I wanted it to go, I would have
Yeah.
been like working for PBS Frontline right now instead of at Channel 11. They were like, we only had Monday through Friday at my station in Seattle, and they decided to add weekends. Our motto was, if there's news on the weekends, that's news to us. That was our motto. But they added weekends, and Jack Eddy, remember Jack Eddy? He was the
Yeah.
news director, legend in
Yeah.
Seattle TV. And he's like, pretty much like, you played football, you're doing sports. So it wasn't like I wouldn't say forced me. It was the opportunity was given, but I was like, I guess. And then quickly I realized how much more fun it was going to Seahawk games
Right.
over city council meetings on sludge waste or something, So I just kind of, that became my thing. It was like almost overnight, like, all right, I think I'll try this instead. And do you remember the Super Bowl 1989?
Yes.
The Niners beat the Bengals, Joe
Yes.
Montana to John Taylor. I had a good show, a little 5-minute, Channel 11. Nobody saw it,
Yeah.
except for the people in the room probably. But I thought it was a good 5 minutes. I
It
sent the
must have
tape
been.
to ESPN, just blind. Just, hey, my name is Kenny. I do TV. I hope you like my tape. Whatever I said, And
Yeah.
they called immediately. Al Jaffe, the czar of talent recruitment, hits me with, that was a good tape. Send me another one. I want to see if it was a fluke. So I sent
It
him
was
another
so
one.
good. Send me another.
Yeah. And they brought me back for an interview, but I didn't get hired. You got hired maybe a year later or half a year, somewhere in that same
89.
time period.
Yeah. I got hired in 92. July of 92.
Okay. So it would have been a couple years. So
yeah. Now that's what's interesting because I want to go back to, people may not know this, our lives, our careers overlapped in Seattle.
Yeah,
Because I
twice.
worked at KIRO, you worked at KSTW, Channel 11, the aforementioned. We'd be hanging out together with everybody else, Jesse and all these people in Seattle local media outside, waiting for Gary Wright, the PR dude, to come out,
Dreamweaver,
say something
Gary
for the
Wright.
Seahawks. That's when the Sonics were still there. We had great
Oh yeah.
times. It was so amazing. But another thing I didn't know about you, which you need to tell the viewers and listeners about this, that you were in a career limbo situation. You decided after correct me if I'm wrong, after Channel 11, KSTW in Seattle promoted you, you decided, you know what? I'm going to be a garbage man.
Well,
What is
I
that
didn't
about?
aspire to, no, we got it a little bit backwards. In college, my college summer job and winter job, off job, was a garbage man. I ran into this guy at a bowling alley. We're just talking it up. I played football. His brother plays football. We're just talking. And it
Right.
turns out he's the manager at the garbage company. And he says, hey, if you ever, need extra money or you want to, fill in, not full time. So I
Okay.
did, and it paid well, and it was a great summer job. I go on, I finish at UNLV. I actually signed with the Seahawks. I lasted like
Yes.
2.5 weeks because my ankle, which is ruined, I failed the physical, got a
Yep.
job at Channel 11, slowly worked my way where I was finally on the air. Most people go to Bend, Oregon or Walla Walla or somewhere. I just I'm going to start in Seattle. So, but I didn't get to be on TV right away. So I'm finally on TV doing news stories. Then they moved me to sports and news, and interviewed by ESPN, don't get the job, go back there, and I quit that job like 6 months later. We don't have time for the whole of it, but I wasn't happy, I guess is
Right.
the best way to put it. I just pushed for some changes. They wouldn't give them or give in to me, and I was out. It was probably a little hasty, impetuous, but there I was. Now I don't have a job. I call the garbage guy back. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I just quit a job. I need some, until I figure out what I'm doing next. But they had now just the one man show, right? Like the garbage men in that neighborhood now just had the claw. They don't need the guy hanging on the back. The garbage industry had passed me by in those intervening years. But he said, I do have some cans that need to be made. So I'm on TV one day. 3 days later, I'm building garbage cans in Kent in the rain and wondering what in the fuck did I just, that was really dumb. Why did I quit? I could
Right.
still be trying to get to ESPN while staying in TV. Most people would think that's the more correct path. But
Right.
I went the Magellan route. I went a different way. And it took like 4 years to get ESPN to finally hire me full time. They freelanced me all those other years.
Right. When you look back, you were there, what, 20? How long were you at ESPN? Was it 27 years?
27. I came there in
Yeah.
94 and I left in May of 21, 5 years
Wh-
ago.
Which is a fabulous run. But when you look back on that, for me, it was like just doing SportsCenter with you I always looked forward to that because I knew I would be smiling and laughing throughout. And you can take it seriously, but then you don't have to take it seriously. That's what I felt. We were all sports fans. It wasn't life or death for us, yet we got it because we understood what the viewer wanted from us. And you were so entertaining, and yet you could turn on a switch and, like you said, be the serious newsman, like a Walter Cronkite when we had to do a serious story, and you
What was
sold it.
always funny because nobody wanted the serious stories, right? You wanted just to have a big party. Hey, let's go to the triple overtime game and highlight, and funny
Right.
interviews and good highlight calls. But you got interrupted with real life, but that was our job. If it was important enough to put in the show, you had to kind of settle down and all right, now I'm going to read a serious story, which was sometimes hard to do when 1 minute before we're clowning about top 10 plays or whatever, so typically the producers were smart enough to, you put it somewhere where it's protected, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they'd always warn hey, serious story kind of, so that I was just kind of lean back while the other person, or they would if I were reading it. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think you'd say the same. Didn't we have way more fun when it was just a big festival of highlights and jokes
Oh, I
and
loved it. That was
try to
my
get out of there
thing,
by
doing
two?
highlights. That was my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't care about being on camera. I just like having fun of the highlights and the back and forth chemistry with someone like you. I mean, then you knew the show was great when you
Yeah.
had that chemistry with your on-air partner. Because I felt, you get this question a lot. I bet I always do. Oh, who's the best person to work with? I'm like, I'm not going to single out one person, but I
Right.
will say the best people to work with were the people that felt like it was a team and they
I
didn't have
was
their
going to
own
say the
agenda.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it was very few cases, I'd say, in my experience, that I didn't feel that way about the person next to me. Very few.
Yeah.
Um, most of the time you're rooting for each other. And sometimes I knew a little more about one sport, not many, but football I knew pretty well, and horse racing. I didn't know much about hockey, and I needed like, how do you say this guy's name? Right? Like, you'd hopefully help each other as teammates to have a
Yes.
clean show. Because even as much as we wanted to clown around and have fun, always it was get the score right, get the name right, get the facts right.
Yep.
It's the old first do no harm, right? Get it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had some rough hockey calls. I probably wasn't the greatest hockey highlight call. I got smarter with time, though. You don't need to name 5 Czech Republic guys in a row and then a Russian scoring.
Exactly.
You say great passing by the Canucks. Look at the
Ex-
movement or whatever. You just
right.
fill some space,
Exactly. You're
pause,
stumbling
name,
and
boom.
bumbling, to quote
Yeah.
our leader, Chris
Oh my
Berman,
God.
if you name every name.
I mean, God bless those who can do it.
Yeah.
God, if you had me be a hockey, literally like a play-by-play, it would be boom goes the dynamite. It would be really bad. Yeah, I'd fall apart.
You know, you did so many for good reason. They picked the right guy. You did so many of the This Is SportsCenter commercials, and they're so classic. What's your favorite?
Man, I think it's almost like a four-way tie. It's almost impossible to just say this over that, but Stuart Scott and I, the Big Buddy basketball program, that's right up there, I'd say.
Yes,
And
yes.
the premise, Dan Patrick does the narration and the setup, talks about how we give back to the community and we're always trying to help out kids, whatever. And then Stuart and I go to the gym, and there was no script. The director's just like, go out there and be an absolute jerk. There was no script.
Right.
And we did. Stuart checked the kid, a little 4 foot tall. He blocks him. I'm screaming at the kid. Your parents signed the permission slip. Get up, you little.
Feels pretty good.
Get up, walk off. Your parents signed the permission slip. Get up, man.
And it was chaos and a blast. And then people don't know. We oftentimes, most of the time, I should say, we were working that night. I was on the 11, or I was
Yeah.
on the 1.
Oh,
And by the way, you're also
absolutely.
shooting 3 commercials during, or however many you're putting in.
Right.
So there's other people who get paid to be in commercials. You and I have done a couple together, like
Yep.
the kind where somebody gives you money, not the ESPN kind where you sign for
Right.
$1, but they
Because
never
we
get
didn't
paid.
get any extra for doing those commercials
But
at
but I
ESPN.
wanted to be in them. We all did. So they
Yes.
knew they had us because it was to your benefit to be featured in these funny things, right? Why would you not want to? But my point was, you come in, you do your meeting, and you're typing, and then
Yeah.
from 6 to 8:30, you're shooting these commercials. You're on the air in like 2 hours, and you haven't even looked at scripts. So some of that was kind of chaotic. I'd say another one was one of my first ones. The premise was that I let it all go to my head, and I'm talking shit to Bob Lee, and I'm trying to get my girlfriend hired as a fitness beach kind of girl or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that one called? They had a name for it. I forget. I'm asking Bob Lee, like, where's the buffet? I got a
Yep.
mink coat coming out of a limo. Another one, me and Dikembe Mutombo staring at cloud shapes and
Oh,
just talking about. He's like, that one looks like George Washington. The, all of them were funny, and I
yeah.
thought the best ones were when we went way off the cliff, where it just got really, really silly instead of playing off names or current
Right.
event or something. But their success rate was very high.
Very
I
high.
didn't. I'd say high 80s, 90%, really funny, top to bottom. There are only a few that you'd argue like, they didn't think that one through.
Yeah, people cared more about when they talk to us. Whenever you run into people, they're like, "Oh, that commercial." They didn't care about the
Yeah,
show. They were
that
about,
was kind
you
of
know,
an insult and a compliment at the same time. It's
sure.
kind of like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
to say
You
they
know,
like the art of that more than the actual product that we were
yeah,
out there supposed to be working on.
yeah. But it was so much fun. Um, you did so many different projects outside of Sports Center, and thank goodness they let your personality come out with these projects, like right, Main Street, Main Event. Of
Mm-hmm.
all the things you did, I'm going to ask you to pick a favorite of like something that you never thought you could make happen and you did it.
I got Stevie Wonder to say, I can't be at the baseball all-star game. I have a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
I'd say that's hands down the greatest thing I've ever done. Uh, but there were other things that were so fun. And so, like, you named them all. Main Street that's Benson. He's got the squeaky toy again. Main Street was a situation comedy done in miniature, like little 3 and 4 minute. You were in one.
Yeah.
We did Aubrey Plaza, Allison Becker, John Glazer, Ben Schwartz, all these. They've all now made huge success, particularly Aubrey.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like their first big national thing, if you will. Funny show, Josh Shelov, Todd Pellegrino, and we all put it together. Those guys did a great job making it happen. But yeah, the fact that they said, sure, let's do a comedy now, like it had never been done. The part of the problem at the time, though, for the dissemination, I think, was there was just ESPN.com and ESPN TV. There was no app. Smartphones didn't even exist, or they were
Nope,
barely
they did
starting.
not. Yeah.
So it wasn't the same environment as today. I could imagine that if there were an Instagram, a different way to put it out,
It would have exploded. It would have been. It was ahead of its time,
ahead of its
Kenny.
time.
It was
And
so
damn right
made
it was.
for social media.
I just looked at one of the other ones. They always took my name and added another word: Main Street, main event. So the football stories were the quote unquote main event, and I essentially would either make up a story entirely or take a real story and just do a little parody of it or whatever. So we had the fake Seattle Seahawk, Kim Il-sung, we called him. He was a 5'5" Korean guy that smoked cigarettes while he plays. But Holmgren loved him and loved that we brought him back every year for the next iteration. We did it for like 10 years in a row. The one I just showed Bryn, our daughter's friend, Danny, was the Super Bowl one from Phoenix. Remember Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos? Tony Sirico had the big sideburn. Passed away. Rest in peace.
Yes.
He'd done me a favor or two. He'd been in a couple of my other bits.
Yeah.
And he calls me like Monday of Super Bowl week, and our story that we were going to work on had just fallen apart. It was no longer going to happen. We were like, what are we going to do for a story? And we had all week to figure it out. He calls me and says, hey, I need 4 tickets. I said, for what? The Super Bowl. It's really hard. I mean, I'll try, definitely. He says, I know you'll do it, kid. And he just hangs up.
Oh, no.
So it was almost like in real life, I'd been threatened by a soprano.
By a mobster.
Figure. Yeah. And so we decided, let's just make that our story. We just announced that I've been threatened by this Sopranos guy, right? And I went all over trying to get tickets. We ended up having a little person. His title was Midget Actor of Phoenix, Mark Trombino. We hired him. We blew up a car. Dave Craig was on a horse at one point. Michael Clark Duncan did the voiceover. Stacy Keebler slapped me across the face for some reason. Like, we had all of these crazy elements all in one little story that we threw together by an emergency. So that, among many, the wider world thing was a blast, traveling around the world and doing all these unique sports. It's kind of hard to like rate one over the other because I also still like doing SportsCenter.
Is there something that you wish you could have done that we weren't able to do? Or maybe the boss has said, Kenny, I don't think so.
Oh, we had one plot line. I can't even say it. This is a family program that was.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll tell you on the side. I don't. It's too far. Honestly, I didn't feel like I got held back. Like no, you can't do it. It was more sometimes the edit of what I turned in. Like, okay, we went out and did it. We thought of it. We wrote it. We did it. And then somebody was like, I'm going to take that sentence out. It's like, that's the kind of editing that bugged me.
Yeah.
Because, you can show one thing to 15 different people and they might each have a different suggestion. I sometimes think they should let people, and they did for the most part, if somebody has a certain skill set, just leave them alone. Just keep it under 3 minutes, instead of trying to micromanage people. But all in all, I can't really say I had too many complaints that way. I had probably more freedom than the next guy, but you always think about the ones that didn't work out. So to be honest, sometimes we would add something to the script that we didn't care about, like something way over the top, to let them take that out. Then we would get to keep the rest of the stuff that we really wanted in. So sorry, we've tricked you guys a couple times. When I was trying to get to ESPN, that period, where I was doing, I made garbage cans. I ran out of them. Then I sold prepaid legal insurance at a telemarketing place. Then I worked for MCI selling long distance. And during all that time, I was doing freelance assignments for ESPN, Prime Ticket, what's the TSN in Canada?
Yeah.
NBA Entertainment. Sometimes I would call, like say the Chiefs were coming to town. I would call every station in Kansas City ask, "Are you coming to the game?" Most of them said yes. That you
Of
got to
course.
travel some for cover,
Yeah.
but some of them didn't. So I'd pitch them, "Well, I'm already here. I can hire a camera. I can be your guy. I'll go interview your key guys. It'll look like you were there. You'll get, the one-on-one type interviews." So the only problem with it was, you don't know everybody by face, and the visitors locker room doesn't have nameplates. So, you almost had to like depose the guy to find out what. So how'd you guys play on your side of the ball? And then, okay, now he plays defense. Now he's kind of big. Is he a lineman? Is he a linebacker? So I didn't always perfect that role, but I was hustling for work. So during that time, NBA Entertainment, remember, it was Ahmad Rashad, formerly Bobby Moore of Tacoma, Washington, Oregon
Right.
Ducks,
Right.
and Willow Bay, who's now a
Yes.
USC big shot, right?
She's
And
still
they had
married
that
to Bob
show.
Iger.
What was it? Yeah, yeah. What was it
Yeah.
called? Inside Stuff? Inside
Yeah.
Stuff?
Yeah.
And they commissioned me, and they paid way better than ESPN, by the way. ESPN paid the
Stop it.
same number whether I worked 1 minute or 20 hours. It didn't matter. Jeff Herman and Gil
Yeah.
Parmalee, they're going to send me the paperwork,
Gil-
$250, whatever that
oh,
is. So I got sent to the Coliseum for Ahmad and Willow show, and Jeff Ament of Pearl Jam and Sean Kemp of the Sonics were making a poster from, remember the Costacos brothers? They made all the cool posters.
yeah.
And I did a story about their relationship and interviewed them about the shoot. And that's kind of how Jeff and I became friends soon after that.
Okay,
And
cool.
and those were good days.
Yeah, they were
They were
great.
scrappy days. I was like hustling for, I mean, I'm kind of doing that now, to be honest. It's like I've come full circle where I'm in better condition to afford to do that. But it's not like, we're not tycoons over here. I still want to bring in more just to, stay afloat, but also
Yeah,
to be
who doesn't?
active, mostly to be
Yeah.
active, honestly.
That's I want to get to that because you're doing some really great things, post ESPN, and you have been doing great things. I had mentioned, of course, the podcast We Need a Fourth with Cooper Manning and Brian
Mhm.
Bumgardner, fun stuff that. But I really want to hear more about, your Run Freely Foundation, how long you've been doing that, and why is that important to you?
Yeah, so it's runfreely.org. Not that I
Okay.
shouldn't mention my greeting card line, which is
I was going to get to
lovetalk.com.
that. I was going to get to that, but I wanted to do the
All right, we'll do them
charitable
both.
thing
So,
first.
so I wrecked my ankle at Oregon. I was a junior at UNLV. We were getting beat at Oregon. Oregon was pretty good that year, actually. Reggie
Yeah.
Ogburn at quarterback. And this is 1980. This is a long time ago. So I'm in at the end. Game's over. It's 30-9 or whatever the score was. But I call one more all go route. Why not? It's raining. Terrible. It's kind of slipped. Just as I let it go, some idiot comes from my blind side, sticks his helmet on my ankle. And so the players, the game's over now. They're shaking hands. They're picking up cheerleaders, doing whatever
You're
they're
lying
doing.
there.
I'm literally on the ground, like this. There's a picture of it on the website. If you go to
Yeah. We'll
runfreely.org.
put it in the interview.
Yeah. And I came back and played one more year, but I had a fracture dislocation, which is not a great injury to get. I remember the defensive coordinator gave me a scotch and water on the airplane back to Vegas and had
Whoa.
surgery the next day. I'm wondering, was it wise to get on an airplane right after a broken, like a fracture disc? Maybe medicine was different. People were
Different world
tougher.
back then.
People were tougher
Different.
back then. So
Yeah.
I come back and play the next year, and I already told you the Seahawks thing. That's a long time ago. When you're 20, 21, you can't do stuff doesn't hurt the same way, right? But every decade I had bone spurs taken out and metal in and metal out. I had all these surgeries. And by the time I turned about 50, it was in really bad shape. Like so
Mm.
bad, I was not joking considering cutting it off. Like it hurt
Oh,
every day of the
really?
life, right? I'm taking pain pills, the whole thing. I found a great therapist in Kirkland, a guy named Nino Pribic. And I found a leg brace in California from a guy named Marmaduke Loke. Okay. And it was a good brace. No offense to him, but I think I upgraded when I got my next brace. So I got this, and they don't even like calling it a brace. They call it a device. This guy in Gig Harbor named Ryan Blanc puts me in this thing, and I literally could run on day one. And
Oh,
if with this device in my shoe, so it's like you put your leg in the device, then you put the device in your shoe. It's a little cumbersome, but it takes 3 minutes, whatever. And since that time, I just played golf yesterday. I'm feeling great today, no pain. But if I just wore like regular tennis shoes or golf shoes and
yeah.
did anything, half hour of pickleball, whatever, I'd be dying. I'd be limping around. So this thing has changed my life. And Gretchen and I, we kind of like came to it at the same time. I was calling her on the phone and I couldn't even talk. I was crying because I couldn't believe what had just happened. That, it just changed my life. And we both said, let's do something good about it. So we formed a foundation, and we've helped. I'd have to count it up. We got to be in the 60s by now, like veterans who have a leg like mine or worse. And
Right.
it's like you keep your bad leg, nothing gets fixed, but you stick this thing on, and now you can do stuff you can't do otherwise. So
That's
it's as simple as that. It takes the pain away.
that's great. That is such a great
Yeah.
thing.
It's called Run Freely, runfreely.org.
Okay, cool. You mentioned the greeting cards. Love Kenny.
Yes.
Tell
So
me.
my niece Winnie, when she turned 1, went down to Gig Harbor for her birthday, and we didn't have a card. I was like, what does it matter? She's 1. She's like, she can't read. Like, what does it matter? So I made a card. I just took a piece of paper and folded it and said, "You are 1. You cannot read." And for 10 years since that day, I've tried to figure out, I want to do that joke and 100 more.
Right.
Sort of the anti card, like why are we
Yeah.
giving 3-year-olds cards anyway? So I went through a couple different companies. It just never worked out. We didn't have the right relationship, and they weren't motivated to do what I wanted to do. And I had a specific thing I wanted to do, but I found these guys called lovepop.com. They have the cards where you open it and something pops up,
Pops up.
something good,
Right.
right?
Very cool.
And they're good. I think they're like the 4th leading sales in
I
card
see him in
business in
all the
America.
stores. I see him
Yeah.
in all the
Yeah.
yeah.
So they I think they got their break originally. They were trying to go, and they went on Shark Tank and got, whatever the boost there was, and they've done great since. So this guy named Wambi, that's my contact, Wambi, we love him. He liked the joke of "you cannot read, like what else you got?" And I just, what about this, what about this? And I also like did some legit sentimental ones, like they're not all
Sure.
just satirical. And so we just started. It's only been a month or two, or a couple months. I put out little fun videos to promote it. We're talking about doing some in Spanish. Hopefully they give us a long runway to kind of like take off. Like, people don't even know about it. Like, I'm telling, sometimes people ask, what are you up to? What have you been doing? I always mention the podcast and some other projects, and then,
Right.
oh, I got a greeting card thing too. I mean, it's quirky, but it's really fun, and I'm having a blast coming up with them, and also coming up with the bits to kind of promote it. Right? We
Yeah.
just shot a focus group with some 2 and 3-year-olds. We pretended that I was in. They were in. They had snacks, like at focus groups. They always feed them something. Yeah, we're having fun, and hopefully one day people know more about it, and the 55-year-old women who buy all the cars buy the hell out of
Yep.
them, and everybody wins.
Yeah, it is so perfect for you because you get to be you share your humor, and like you said, it's not always all funny, but it's like the real Kenny coming out in something that does good.
Yeah,
And you know,
one of my other favorite ones is just bluntly, it just says, "You look pregnant." That's the whole card. So just imagine you got family or your friends or younger friends going to like the baby shower, right? Everybody who goes to a baby shower, a maternity thing, or a bridal announcement or a
right.
birthday, right? Don't you all want to have the greatest gift or the greatest card, one or the other, right? You want to be, yeah, hey, they saw my card. So
Yeah.
hopefully it appeals to people who want to bring, some humor and something different to a party.
As long as it's that kind of party. You don't want to be sending that card that says you look pregnant at a party that has nothing to do with someone having a baby.
Don't do that. In fact, I just saw a clip. I can't remember. It was from a movie series, something. It's a couple talking to a woman and going on and on about her baby, and they're and she just says, "I'm not pregnant," and she just walks out of the scene. It was
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
All
Never
right.
say anything about a woman being pregnant unless your wife has already said it's true, or the woman says it out loud. We've all should have learned that by now.
Two things before I let you go. First, oh, by the way, the Seattle Seahawks won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where were you when that happened? I
I,
mean, it's like,
it was a weird occasion for me. I went to San Francisco to play in a flag football game to support Run Freely, right? I played with a whole bunch of veterans with missing arms and legs and against ex-NFL players. We play this flag game almost every Super Bowl. We skipped a couple, but we've been doing it pretty consistent for about 10 years, and sometimes during the rest of the year as well. I was trying to get into the game on the coattails of my boy Kevin from The Office, Brian Bumgarner, because he was there. He had like a big promotion with, is it Ramp? Was it Ramp? Is that the name of the company? I think so. We never connected. Maybe I was never on a short list anyway. I really can't tell you. But I wasn't going to spend 10 grand or whatever it was for a club, you know. So we played the flag game, and I was just going to be in town, run into some friends, watch the game somewhere. Some guy who played for the Patriots, his name's escaping me, hit me in that flag game with like 2 plays left. And I tweaked my knees so bad that you've been to San Francisco, right? Nob Hill, right up on top.
Yes, everything's a hill.
It hurt so bad, and it was swelling. I had to take an Uber to go 400 yards up a hill, or not even 400, probably 200 yards. I couldn't walk, So I watched the game from this little bed and breakfast type of inn. There was a great place right by Nob Hill, right below it, and cheered the Seahawks on pretty much by myself. Then some random bed and breakfast people come in. They don't seem to care about the Super Bowl, but the game was on, so they stayed with me. But I was thrilled. That was my Super Bowl experience. I got to go to the House of Nanking, my favorite Chinese restaurant, and cheer my home team on, and they played great. They had a great season. I had predicted they'd win like 10, and then who knows from there. Like I think it's almost silly to really play it all the way out. It's just like, well, who's going to make the playoffs? Because once those start, doesn't hurt to have home field. Having that advantage always helps.
For sure. All right, before I let you go, my friend, I texted you this picture. I said to my producer, Dom, when we promote that you were going to be on the show, we must use this
that's
picture.
Terrible.
You look so, and I had sent you the picture, so you know what I'm talking about. Let's comment on it. You look dreamy. You look like a model.
Dreamy is a good word. Like I'm trying to play to the camera a bit. Like that's my blue steel look, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. My hair's longer. I wish I had more hair now, but you got what you got. That shirt, let me think. It's kind of a golf shirt. It's like, what do you call that when it has the border, the rope or whatever?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe I just was tired. It's a weird.
I thought you look good.
I don't think it's terrible, but I'll tell you what's funny. If you ever Google yourself for some reason, you're trying to see if something's correct or whatever. There are a couple pictures. If you go deep, anybody who's had any amount of attention, I'm sure there's millions for you, and you go to the next one. Yeah. There's like this photo batch. I don't know what it's called. And there's a couple where I look so bad. I wish there was a way just to purge it from existence.
Oh, I know. Well, how about this, Kenny? I won't say who did it, but when I left the ESPN, so I was getting a lot of interviews and everything. And so this company, this podcast that I did, I'm not going to tell them because I already told them on the air that what are they doing? If you could find the ugliest, worst picture of me.
Oh, that's a tough one.
They put it out there and promoted it more than once.
Did you have like
and I think it must be a guy that doesn't like Linda Cohn.
I'm not that vain. But I don't take.
But I'm not vain. But this was. No, I look like a wicked witch.
No, I was just talking about myself.
Oh, okay.
I don't have like a big ego that way. But when it's your picture going to be presented, I usually hey, can I make sure my eyes are open? Because I take horrible pictures. But there's just one. I'm going to try to find the one I hate, and I'm going to send it to you so you'll see what I mean.
Good.
I just look bad. I look white, like really washed out, like sickly. And you know what it was? It was like. Those Super Bowl parties or baseball all-star weekend parties, they have you come through and they do the celebrity photo. And there's like hot lights and like, it was bad. So hopefully we're judged on our whole career. And I'm starting to like this picture. I'll see if Gretchen likes it. It's kind of sad because I've shown her a couple pictures like my college years or a little after, and she seems like that guy more than the current me. I'm kind of sad about that. You missed out,
There's a bit of an age difference to the young Kenny and the older Kenny. I'm not saying old because we're the same age.
That's true. I'm getting up there.
No, we're going backwards, Kenny. I always like to say that.
Yes.
And you found your miracle leg thing. So
Yes.
it's a game changer. So there you go.
And Gretchen's making chicken. Where'd she
Right.
go? She just
Dis-
Gretchen. I could starve. I could perish for doing the show.
All right,
It's
I'm going to
almost
let you go.
9.
I know. Is there
I don't
anything
like
else?
eating dinner at 9. I'm a 6 o'clock dinner guy.
Oh
6:30.
gosh, I'm
I
in
don't
bed
like
by 9.
9s.
I'm in bed by 9 nowadays. Are
Hey,
you kidding
when
me?
I go out to the west, because I'm mostly in Connecticut, but when I go
Yeah.
back to Seattle, I've been there a lot actually recently. I stay on the East Coast. Like I try to be in bed 9:15, 9:30, but I'm up at 5:30 or 6. It
Yeah.
feels great.
Me too. I'm always up early. That's because of Babs. She wakes me up.
Yeah.
My dog. Right. Exactly. I think we promoted everything that needs to be promoted. Is there anything else you would
I
like
could talk
to?
about my failed projects. There's a difference between
Only
failing.
positives here.
Yeah. No, but I'm not gonna. I've said I'm not gonna stop trying until the last guy says no. I think that Nick Zito, remember the horse race trainer?
Yes.
He famously said he was getting kind of grilled for never winning the Belmont Stakes.
Yes.
You always finish second, and he's up there, and he's kind of like, well, second's not that bad. And he just pauses, says, you know what? You can't even lose if you don't enter. That's just like a great mindset. I
Right.
feel like that's how I live my life anyway. Like, I don't give a fuck how many no's I get. Like, so what? They say no, they say no. Because there's
Yeah.
that one guy or that one girl. And if they say yes, then you get to do the thing you're pitching. So I made that movie I told you about called Wiffle Ball.
Yes.
It's about
How
a day
far
with,
can you throw a wiffle ball?
it's not distance, it's speed.
Oh,
We think the wiffle ball speed measuring equipment at the Seattle Science Center in 1989
I
was
love the
not
Seattle
high
Science
quality.
Center. I
Yeah.
love that place.
So I'm trying to get that still off the ground. One day there'll be that guy or that girl. If not, I'll die trying. Like I think it's great. Failure is actually beneficial in a lot of ways because
Yeah.
then it's cliche, but it makes you appreciate it when something
Yeah.
else succeeds or that thing succeeds. But we're constantly thinking of stuff.
Right.
Gretchen has ideas for businesses like every 5 to 10 minutes. We could be
That's great.
trillionaires. We're gonna go past Elon Musk. Okay, we're going right by that bastard.
That's a good goal. That's a very good goal.
And then we're
Realistic.
giving it away, but we're going to give it away. That's the difference.
That's different. Right. All right. This has been amazing. We went everywhere and
Where's the chicken?
Where is the chicken? Dark
Gretchen,
or white meat?
How long is the chicken cooking? What do you? She's lied to me.
Oh, she's not. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do Gretchen a favor and let you go.
Gretchen's great. She's the best. And our anniversary is Wednesday.
Nice.
So Tuesday night, we're going to go to a little place, actually on the shore of Connecticut. Just a little small venture, just to be together.
Ooh.
And then I'm going west on Wednesday late that night. So at least we'll be together for most of our day.
Love it. It's so great. And say hi to Benson for me as well.
Where'd he go? Hold on. No, Benson, come. Treat. Oh, come. Benson, treat.
The magic word.
Treat. No, she took him outside.
It's okay. That's great. All right, Kenny, thanks so much for doing this.
I'll send you my dumb picture too. Nice talking with you.
Can you send me any? Yeah, I see something like I saw the ones from when you were on the stretcher there. And
you can find the Love Pop thing if you do anything there. Just go to my Instagram or just go to lovepop.com, search Love Kenny.
Okay,
You'll see examples of my cards.
I'll have Dominic do that. We're going to put that in.